So how are you adapting? What is your biggest challenge right now in COVID?
It's multi-pronged.
Mm.
One, when you look at COVID, our ancestors have been dealing with virus and diseases since the beginning of time.
Right.
And there are a network of healers and priests throughout Africa. But I'll give you, for instance, when Ebola broke out,
right,
you find the heartland of traditional culture right now in Africa, the least westernized when it comes to religion, language, medicine. There are 52 countries in Africa.
Right.
Only one has a traditional African religion as its state religion. None have an African language as the official language of business.
Wait a minute. Out of all these countries,
yes,
only one has its traditional religion as their religion as a state, and you saying very few even speak the language?
They speak the language, but this is the thing. I give an example. If you look at China or all of Asia in 1945, coming out of World War II,
right?
Every country in Asia was colonized except for one, which is Thailand. At that time, Africa, except for Ethiopia,
right,
was colonized. So we were in the same position.
Right.
Even the gross national product of China in 1977, Nigeria, Ghana had more doctors, engineers, so on and so forth.
Wow.
Now you look at today, what's the difference that happened there? There's not one country in Asia that has a Western language as its state language. They might, in Vietnam, they spoke French, but Vietnamese was the state language. So when a child goes, and there's less Vietnamese people in the world than there are Nigerians or Congolese. But if you're going to learn the laws, the language, when you go to school, imagine teaching your whole country is ESL or,
right,
or, French SL, as a second language. And so you are educationally behind, you are culturally behind because your way of seeing life is deeply tied to your language.
That's correct.
None of the countries in Asia have adopted a religion as Christianity, as their official religion.
Right.
Some have Islam, but that Islam was there since the 6th century. And so what you have in Africa is a loss of identity. But going to your question about COVID,
right,
in Benin, it is the one country that is standing, but you have some in Togo and in Ghana. And what happened, like, as soon as Ebola broke out, there was a message that was sent to all the traditional priests in that land. And even in Ghana, that's very westernized, 80% of all medical, medicine is administered by traditional priests and healers.
80%.
And so, so the message, we're like, look, we're not waiting for the Europeans to save us. We've been doing this before. And so they sent out information to prepare. It hit in Gambia, in Guinea, in Sierra Leone. It came to the Ivory Coast, and it jumped all the way over Ghana, not one case.
Yeah.
Togo, not one case. Benin, not one case. And hit Nigeria, which right now is, a war between Christians and Muslims, North and South. But that area was preserved because the healer said, okay, there's things we need to do both spiritually and medicinally to prepare our people. And so when COVID broke out, Likewise, the council of all the elders came together. In fact, there's a movie online on YouTube called Strong Medicine featuring Andrew Young, the former ambassador and mayor of New York. He went on a trip with one of our great healers and, just talking about, the African solution for this. Right. But the message came out about COVID said, look, a lot of people will say that this was man-made. Ignore that. They said, this is a response from the earth, from the environment, for man's disrespect for not only humanity, not only the earth, but the things that crawl, that slither, that fly, that are four-legged. All of the beings on the earth we have disrespected. And so we will see more of this. And so they gave us strict guidelines to follow. Now, dealing with COVID, if you look at Dahomey, it is a very well known, that's where you have in real life, the African Amazon, the only nation that had an all-female army. Right. What you saw in Black Panther, that's Dahomey, that's Benin, the modern day country of Benin. Gotcha. The first 5 kings, 3 of them were killed with smallpox. And this was biological warfare. Okay. We were playing biological warfare, before Europeans invaded. So we knew about disease. And so with that, saying that, they said, look, like the traditional greetings, like what they say, Wakanda forever, yeah. Mm-hmm. That actually is a real greeting of the voodoo priest. Wow. We greet with our elbows. The kid and play dance where we touch feet. I remember that was so we didn't spread disease during time of disease, that we're not touching hands. There's so much in our culture, our tradition. So they said it's time to go to protocols that have been established for thousands of years. And so the hardest part I find here, there's a couple of things. One, because of our unique history, that even, us as Black people, African American people, even and in Africa, even when, outsiders brought us something that seemed good, like, let's say, a loan to build a road, it generally never served us. It was actually to enslave us, let alone medicine. So with the Tuskegee experiment, you have a whole group of people who are not interested in a vaccine. There's another group of people who don't even believe it exists. And generally those are the healthy people in our community who've never experienced sickness on that type of scale, though we're dying more than anyone. So there's the educational piece, and then the economic realities of what this is doing to our community, the psychological, aspects. So helping our people to learn to be proactive. Gotcha. Because, herbs and traditional medicine is great when it's done preventative. An ounce of cure is better than a pound of, or prevention is better than a pound of cure. Exactly. But so that's the second aspect. We are a social people. And so it is hard because of our unique history dealing with that. There's actually medicine that can help a person who's diagnosed, with COVID, and it's been proven effective. If you look in Benin, we have more people who die in a day than have died in the entire year since COVID's been here. If you look in Africa, it's the least affected place. But part of that, is lifestyle. We talk about our melanin being powerful, but there also, everything good has a bad. Because of a person like, my skin tone and your skin tone, 70% of African Americans are vitamin D deficient. Because for a person with dark skin, you need at least 4 hours every day of direct sunlight on your arms and your legs, and preferably with your shirt off. We don't get that in America.
No, we
because
don't.
most of us now, you know, we work inside. Even if you're a mechanic, you're working under a garage. And so, you know, oftentimes people wait to the last moment, and, you know, it's a lot of tragedy. So for me, it's just one, self-care, staying mentally fresh. You know, this past week, you know, as a priest, I help supplement and help those who are first responders in the medical field, and, you know, helping them deal with the depression and with the anxiety. And then, you know, in the spiritual community, helping those who help others not to get burnt out, you know, not to you know, lose their cool. Parents who might lose their cool on their children. Yeah. So, you know, it's a difficult time, but at the same time, we've endured much worse.
So, as a priest, you are spiritually trying to take care of others, especially the first responders, as well as people in the community, those who are initiated, those who are not. Because sometimes we feel that it's only one group of people doing it for their group, but
right.
Sounds to me that you are trying to help as many people as you can. Or do you?
Yes.
Are you there personally, or you kind of call in, or what do you do?
Oh, okay, great. So, what's happening now? A person can, you know, contact me. And we can do a consultation just like we're doing right now. You know, it's a Zoom. I'll send them a Zoom link. We can do a consultation and look at, you know, oftentimes, you know, Western medicine is about symptoms and about erasing the symptom.
Right.
But that's like putting, you know, the oil light in my car comes on and I get some electrical tape and say, I don't want to see that light. Right. I'm tired of you light. The gas light comes on. I'm tired of cut that. Let me cut the wires to that beeping.
And then the engine light comes on.
Yeah. And then it's over. And so, you know, when a person comes, we really look at 5 basic things. Our ancestors said there's 5 things that are essential to life and maintaining the balance of life. The first is, you know, self-care, is your health itself, your organism. Because, you know, if a child doesn't have food to eat, he's not going to be able to pay attention to the lesson plan. You know, if you're in dis-ease or discomfort, you know, life is not good.
Right.
Once you learn how to sustain yourself, the next thing is awa, which in Yoruba is a tonal language, as many African languages are, or J. Awa has multiple meanings. It literally means hand, but what it means is also money. Right. Your ability to use your hand to make the world the way you want to make it, to live where you want to live, to manifest your destiny. Right. And if you lack the power to you know, create the life you want, you won't feel empowered. You will feel diminished. You will feel depressed. And so being able to sustain yourself both creatively to do what you came to create and do is the second essential of life, you know, to feel like you have a purpose. The third is, if, you know, you have health and money, you need to share it. And so having good relationships, you know, you want to have, and that's right. You know, first you get the money, then you get, you know, health, money, and, you know, life, and a woman, you know, or a mate, a spouse, you know. So traditional religion is about, you know, African spirituality is about African reality, not about African imagination, but reality. So you need health, you need money, and then you need, you know, compatible people, spouse, you know, to accent that. Then once you have that, is then children. Yeah. Whether you actually have physical children or not, it's really talking about, the word is Omo in Yoruba or V in Fongbe. And that really means the things you came to do that will outlive you, your legacy.
Pass it down.
Your children. And then the last one is, if you got those four things somewhat in balance, the fifth is there's going to be someone or something to set that balance off to destroy it. Enemies, problems.
Gotcha.
And so your ability, you could be feeling horrible, or you could be doing horrible, but be very, confident about the future. Or you could be doing pretty much great. And, life sucks, because you feel defeated. And so finding that balance and looking at, the core, the strength of a tree is not its leaves.
Exactly.
But the roots that you never see. And so, really touching on the practical areas of life, but how your spirituality, which is just your way of thinking and organizing life, how what you really feel and think and your actions, how well those are in balance or out of balance.
Because I tell people, our ancestors, they didn't just deal with physical, they dealt with spiritual. In a situation where it's as small as it is, I have a cold, Granny would say, "Who you cussed out?"
That's true.
They would something happened to cause you to be offset. And and like you were mentioning, some of our people who are spiritually grounded, they're saying that something gets off here, COVID, or even other diseases like it or similar to it, because of how we are and how we treat other people. And so we have to be mindful of that, and we have to get back to that balance. We have to get back to treating people right, love your neighbor as yourself, and things. Because like I hear Bob Marley singing it, that scripture, we wrestle not with flesh and blood.
That's real.
We focusing on, say, the white man or anybody, or Zungu or whoever.
It's not
that person.
Blaming,
It's something that's not right. It may be, we're not talking about this anymore. We're talking about here. And so our ancestors had that, and they understood that. And I'm glad that there are men and women that are still holding on to those traditions. You see it played out in other places, but some of you guys, like you, Iletuje, and many others, are directly going to it. And the cool part is that it's not just you and the people that you're around. You're trying to bless whoever wants to be blessed. And that's good. And so my thing is,